Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So the face is actually very neutral today and I haven't done a totally neutral look in so long, which is just a testament to the type of video I'm doing today. Today's video is fail or forgotten. I have an entire assortment of products here that I haven't used in months, and some of them years. Like these are products that at one point or another, like Sweet Peach palette, this was huge way back when. I loved this palette. I don't know why I didn't use it. The Dermablend setting powder, the Sleek Solstice highlighting palette. Like these are products that for one reason or another, and I don't even remember why, I stopped using. So we're gonna kind of work through it together, create this look today, and figure out whether these products are fails, whether they are just forgotten favorites, or the third, more likely alternate, something better and more exciting just came along. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. And please don't forget to subscribe because I do upload twice a week and that is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. And I know I say that in every video, but like a lot of people have different numbers. I'll put it up right here. 70% of my views are non-subscribers. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but hit that little red button. Let me know you're here because I would love to have you join whatever little family we are creating. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. So the first primer is the Benefit Professional. I have been in love with this for a very long time. I have used it for a very long time, but I don't think I've actually used it in about 6 months. And I know it's something that I liked, and I feel like a theme for this whole video is going to be, is it a failure as in it doesn't work? Is it forgotten as in it is fantastic and I should totally use it again? Or the third and probable option, did something else better just come along? Now, I do always go in with two primers. This was a pore filling smoothing primer. The Too Faced Hangover RX primer is more of like a lotion-y consistency. And this is the type of primer that I would take basically on the perimeters of the face. And this is for longevity, not so much for blurring or smoothing. So this is the type that I would really focus on the outer portions of the face. And then once it's rubbed into the skin, I'll then pat it into everywhere else, just to kind of help to prolong everything. It's always at this point in the video, right before I go into foundation, where from rubbing the primers on my face, my skin is all red, and then the foundation looks extra light because I've just like reddened up my whole face. For foundation, I'm gonna be revisiting the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick. This is in R330. I remember loving this foundation for a long time because it was really good coverage, it blended out really well, and it wore really well. But there was a time where I basically exclusively used stick foundations. Like, it's what I liked. I've obviously moved to more creams than anything else lately, but I'm excited to see how this holds up because I think with foundation especially, I get into a rut where something new comes out and I just really like how it performs. And it doesn't matter that I've had stuff for years that is better, because I'm kind of stuck on something new. So this is blending out just as well as I remember. The one thing I will say that I did not necessarily remember is it does have a weird fragrance to it. And I have had this foundation multiple times. I have repurchased it. And this smell is something that I have had consistently with it. This is not something specific to like, I have one that went bad. Like it always has this smell. So now that I'm using this and the sponge is soaking up quite a bit, I definitely think I added a little bit too much, but the coverage is there, everything looks flawless. I didn't shave today and most of my stubble is concealed by this. So like this is the type of foundation I would probably even skip concealer with. Okay, now that this has dried down a little bit, it's still looking a little fair, but you know, I can always add some bronzer later. For foundation, I'm going to be going back into the Collab Beauty, what is this even called? I don't even, oh, the No Flaws Liquid Concealer. This is in the shade Ivory Sand. I did a whole review on this entire line. It is available at Sally's, and honestly, there are no products other than the highlighters that I feel like I reached for a lot after that video, and I really don't remember why. So I remember the foundation was very yellow, and I didn't like that, and that's really it. The highlighters are stunning, so those I have been using, but It's blending away nicely. The coverage is good. I genuinely have no idea why I stopped using this one. Keep in mind, this is just the application. This could totally all go to hell the second, like, I set it, and then it could get bunchy and gross, but preliminary, I'm liking it. Okay, as I blend that, some of the redness on my cheek is coming through, so some of this coverage does blend away. However, if you are looking for a more, well, definitely affordable, but if you're looking for more of like a medium coverage, something with a little bit of like a satin sheen, this might be a really good pick for you. For powder, I'm going to be going into the Dermablend powder. I don't know if you can see how little is left in here. I literally use this all the time. And then about 8 months ago, around the holiday season, I just put it down and never picked it back up. And I really have no idea why, because I remember loving this powder. So I'm going to take a little bit on a sponge, and I'm going to use that to just quickly set anywhere I put the concealer. I'm actually going to take this and press it into the rest of the face as well, and just use this as a full face setting powder. So the base is on, and honestly, I'm really happy with how all of this looks. The one thing I will say is I'm getting a little bit of creasing up where the concealer was on the under eye, but I also have eyes that are very susceptible to creasing. So if that's not something that you really struggle with, it might not be an issue for you. But for me, I'm definitely seeing that already. For bronzer, I'm going to be going into the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. Before they repackaged, I put this down and really never picked it back up. I don't know, I heard they were repackaging, I heard that there was a chance they were reformulating, and I just never picked it up again. So, I love the way that it smells. And it's a little more like the Marc Jacobs white bronzer. It's a little bit more of like a cool tone. It's not quite so warm, which is good because I have such pink undertones in my skin that really warm bronzers on me tend to pull orange. So this is actually really pretty. Now I don't have a contour to use because, I mean, I pretty much use the same 3 I've used forever. So I'm gonna take just a little bit of the Morphe 8L Lo-Fi palette and just take some of these shades just to contour the cheeks and jaw a little bit more. This is not a fail or a forgotten. It is actually a current favorite, but since I don't have anything else to use, I'm just gonna use this. For blush, I'm gonna be going into the Pretty Vulgar Make Them Blush in Hush Blush. I got this in a BoxyCharm like 3 months ago. I probably used it 3 times and never again. So I'm like, I don't know, I don't really remember. Blush is not really one of those things that I use a whole lot of often. So, I mean, the color is coming off very pretty. It's blending nicely, it's not looking patchy. Whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to take down the sides of the nose just to add a little bit of rosiness. And then, since I did go a little overboard on the blush, or a little more than I wanted to, I'm going to go into the ColourPop Sheer No Filter Pressed Powder in the shade Light. And I'm just going to veil that a little bit just to tone it down and make it a little more daytime, because this is looking a little evening. Now to take down some of the powderiness, I'm going to go into the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is another one of those products that everybody swears by. I used for a long time, and just in the rotation, I stopped using it. Like, it's almost empty, but I don't think I've used this in months. Actually, that brings me to a good point. I haven't used this in months. However, whenever I'm out shopping, if I have a face on and I'm in an Ulta or a Sephora, this is the setting spray I go to just to mist and refresh everything. So even though I don't use it to set my makeup, I really do use this quite a bit out in the world. For highlight today, I'm going to be going into the Sleek Solstice palette. About 2 years ago, this was like the it highlighting palette. Everybody loved it, everybody used it, everybody swore by it. And for a long time, I was on that with everybody else, but with all of the highlighters that come out, I guess it just kind of fell by the wayside. So I'm gonna be dipping in to this shade down here. Oh, you can't even see that. This shade right here, which is a little bit of like a champagne rose gold. And I'm just gonna dust that on the high points. If for nothing else, this is why I'm doing this video. Because this is a product that I used to use all the time and haven't used in so long, and like, that is beautiful and blinding. The one thing I will say is it is a little bit powdery, and it does grab a little bit to any moisture on the face. So like you'll see right here, it's a little grabby. I made the mistake of not waiting for my setting spray to be totally dry before I started, but that is not the product's fault, that is me. Going back into the blush brush with whatever's left on there, I'm just gonna kind of diffuse this a little bit, just because I did put it on when the setting spray was a little wet, and I don't want it to look all grabby and gross. And just to amp it up a little more, I'm gonna take this yellowy banana shade, and I'm just gonna dust a light amount of that just where the blush meets the highlight as like almost a blush topper, just so that that real high point of the face just gets that extra pop. Eyes, which is where I am the most scared, because these products, I don't really know what to expect. I'm gonna be priming with the Smashbox 24-Hour Shadow Primer. I used this for a while. It was the only eyeshadow primer I could really use. And then I revisited it probably 3 months ago, and I was honestly not a fan. And now I'm thinking I used too much back then. So taking a tiny amount on my fingers, I'm just going to warm it up on the back of my hand so it's not quite so like mealy. And I'm just gonna take that onto the lid, and I'm gonna work that all the way up to the brow bone. The one thing I do remember about this is I did not like going in with a shadow directly, so I'm gonna take a little bit more of that Dermablend powder, and I'm just gonna set down this primer. So I'm gonna throw on a quick brow, and I'm gonna be revisiting the IT Brow Power in Universal Taupe. This was something that I used, again, a few times when it came in a BoxyCharm, but it was never something that replaced any of the other products I was in love with. So I'm just gonna use this to, holy crap. Okay, that looks a little warm and a little crazy, but we'll blend it out. But I don't remember why I stopped using it. I remember once I picked up the Milk Makeup Gel Brow that was like all I ever wanted to use. And every now and then I have to like force myself to use other things, and then I'll go back into my Anastasia Brow Wiz and stuff like that. But for the most part, like, it's the Milk Makeup Gel Brow, and that's all. Okay, it is a little warm toned, but it's not looking extremely crazy. It'll definitely work. Yeah, for shadow today, this is actually the first high-end palette I ever had. It is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I have used, I mean, especially this shade up here. I have used the hell out of this, but I haven't used it in so long, so I'm excited to play with it again. Now, a lot of you are gonna think that the look I'm doing is a little basic, and you would not be entirely wrong, but this is basically like my favorite look you can accomplish with this palette. So I start by taking a little bit of Peaches and Cream mixed with Georgia, and taking those to define the crease. And once that transition is down, taking a little bit more of just Georgia on a little bit more of a pointy brush, I'm gonna take this directly into the socket of the eye and just continue to build it up. Now, the reason I stopped using this is I noticed that it would really crease on me very quickly, and like already it would have, and I haven't done anything on the lid yet, so obviously I don't know, but it also probably doesn't help that I'm trying a new primer today. I'll have to let you know in the description box how this wears, and I am gonna try it again with a different primer. Then going into Puree, the shade right here, I'm going to, again, on the pointy side of the brush, just take that directly into the crease, but only on the outer portion of the eye, and in small circular motions, I'm just gonna buff that up a little bit. Now, this is not gonna be our intense outer V shade. This is really just gonna be like our second transition for the outer portion of the eye. You notice how it's gonna just give us a soft shadow, and we will be using it to build it up later, but with a different brush. As promised, on a different brush, going in with that same Puree shade, but this time I'm gonna add just a tad of Summer Yum, this terracotta shade, and I'm gonna take those and I'm going to press it on the outer portion of the eye, and then in small circular motions, buff it up towards the crease. Then, turning the brush on its side with no additional product, I'm just going to slowly buff towards the crease. This is just going to spread a little bit of that warmth up a bit, and make it look a little bit less controlled because I do want this to be a little blown out. Not a lot blown out, but a little blown out. Then going back into that blending brush from before, going into a little bit more of puree, I'm just going to buff out the edges. Then going into a very small detailer brush, I'm going to take a little bit of Charmed, I'm Sure, a very gray brown, and I'm literally just going to focus that right on the outer V towards the lash line, just like that. Like, this is not going to be really overpowering. We're just going to deposit a little bit of this just for that dimension, and then we'll go in and blend it out with a different brush in a minute. And then just blend that into those other shades and pull it towards the inner corner. Now on my finger, I'm gonna take Luscious right here, which is my favorite shade in the palette. And I'm going to just press that on the lid. Then I'm just going to blend away that crease, just so that if any of that shimmer went a little too high, it's not gonna get crazy looking. And then going back onto that packer brush with a little bit of the mixture of Puree, Summer Yum, and a little bit of Charmed, I'm Sure. Not much. We're just going to deepen up that crease over the shimmer shade, just so we don't lose that intensity that we spent all that time creating. I love the colors in this palette. If I remember correctly, just the creasing is why I didn't love it, and that would be really upsetting. So now on a fluffy brush, I'm gonna basically take all those same shades in the same order and just run them on the lower lash line. Now that we have that, I'm gonna take a little bit of White Peach, the matte white shade, and I'm just going to dust that on the entire length of the brow bone, just as a soft matte highlight. Okay, so update, the concealer is already losing coverage. Like, I already see all of my redness continuing to poke through. So first official fail of the day is the Collab concealer. I'm putting it in my getting away bin so that I don't accidentally keep it and use it ever again. So I'm just going to curl my lashes, throw on mascara. I am revisiting the They're Real mascara from Benefit. I have always really enjoyed the roller lash, so I don't remember why I stopped using the They're Real. Maybe the roller lash is just better. I don't know, but I'll be right back. Okay, the lips are lined, and when I find something I love, I tend to get as much of it as possible. So this is the Kat Von D liquid lipstick in Ludwig, which is a perfect nude for me, but I don't remember why this is the only Kat Von D lipstick I have. So I wanted to see, I don't remember if I didn't like the formula. I haven't used it in a very long time, so I'm gonna throw this on. Now you see why I chose that liner, right? All right, I'm gonna give this a minute to dry down, and I'm going to just take a little more of the Urban Decay setting spray, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that is the finished look, testing out products that are either fails or forgottens. I'm gonna go in and just kind of give you the rundown. So primers, Professionals, definitely going back into the running, as is the Hangover. I'm really loving the way that the foundation is looking on the skin. However, like down the bridge of the nose, anywhere the concealer went is already breaking apart and looking like crap. So the concealer from Collab is definitely a fail. Foundation, I said, is good. The bronzer, the blush, the setting powder, basically everything else is a huge win, and I can't wait to revisit. The only two things I'm iffy on that are not like forgotten products, but I'm not really sure if they're fails, the Smashbox Primer. And I have used this in favorites videos as things I've loved. I've used it in fail videos as products that don't really do me very well. I think my issue with this is consistency, is sometimes it goes on and it works really well, and sometimes it goes on and it looks like absolute bullcrap. So I'm gonna have to, again, keep playing around with it. Whether it's worth using that or not, I don't know. And the other product is actually the lipstick. It went on really well. I like how it looks. However, when I get in really close, and I don't know if you can see this, every single line in my lips is accentuated. Like maybe as a base under a gloss, this might be really pretty, but I think the reason that I never picked up any more of the Kat Von D lipsticks is how drying they are, which is great because that means they're long wearing, but honestly, I feel like my lips need severe hydration right now, and that's not great. So yeah, that is my summary on everything. Once again, I'm going to link everything down below, and I will categorize it as a fail, a forgotten, or the third, just kind of upgraded. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.